We have a lot to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. That was an eventful game. I will say, I tried warning you, all right? I mean, you got to give me some props here. We tweeted out before the game, if you start Sky Moore, you deserve what's coming to you. Yes, the Chiefs wide receivers put up arguably the worst game. I don't know when the last time I saw a game like that was. I don't know if we want to go in on Sky Moore. I don't know if we want to be looking at Kadarius Toney. We're going to be trying to go through and look at all of the fantasy football impacts from this game. Trying to answer all your fantasy football questions. And please, if you have not done so already, go down there. Drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We have live streamed every single day for 132 days now. And we are going to live stream every single day until 2024. Now, before we get into the recap, I do want to remind y'all, please, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you are taking advantage of what we have over here on Underdog Fantasy, these season-long pick'em lines. It's not too late. You can still find the link in the live chat, still find it in the comment section, still find it in the description. If you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, and a free special pick'em. Josh Allen, more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets on Monday night. And if you are a new member to Underdog Fantasy, you will also get an additional mystery special pick'em. You're only going to get both with promo code FLOCK, so make sure you are taking advantage of that. And Jacob coming out says, Monty's usage was amazing. He's going to be this year's Jamal Williams 100%. Yeah, so David Montgomery looked pretty damn good, ladies and gentlemen. And I think the Montgomery 100% benefited from the lack of Travis Kelce in this offense. We talked about this once Kelce was ruled out. And that once Kelce's out, you imagine that the game flow and the overall game environment is a little more conducive to the Detroit Lions looking to run the ball with David Montgomery in the second half. Clearly, if the Chiefs were going to be at a large lead in this game, it was going to be a Jahmyr Gibbs game where Gibbs is clearly going to be the receiving down back. Whereas in games where the Detroit Lions are leading, it looks like it is David Montgomery's year. It looks like Montgomery will be the running back that gets that usage. Now, what will be interesting is to see the usage when Jahmyr Gibbs is in a game that the Lions trail. Because if the Lions are down a touchdown, if the Lions are down multiple touchdowns, and they're going through in obvious passing down scenarios, you assume more times than not that Jahmyr Gibbs will be out there based off the investment into him. But I don't know. Sean saying Toney is the worst wide receiver in the league. Y'all remember, we put out an article on flockfantasy.com earlier this season. And we also made a video earlier in the offseason as well. Back when Kadarius Toney used to go before Mike Evans in underdog drafts, calling Kadarius Toney not only the worst wide receiver value, but the worst pick in fantasy football drafts. Now, what is so funny is we go to pull up this box score, right? You're going to see Mahomes. I mean, he had 1 million dropbacks, 39 pass attempts. You had, 6 rushing attempts. And with Mahomes, you would naturally assume that someone was productive here. You'd assume that maybe it was a running back, maybe it was a receiver, maybe it was a tight end. Well, no, ladies and gentlemen. Literally, it was nobody. There was not a single person here that you could have relied on. You go over what was very interesting at running back as well. This is something we need to be pointing out. With Jerick McKinnon, he didn't really have a massive role as a rusher, but with McKinnon, this is a running back that had a large role as a receiver. He was out there running routes, and instead, Isaiah Pacheco ended up actually losing some work to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, going forward, Isaiah Pacheco cannot be relied upon if you are seeing a 3-man running back by committee with Jerick McKinnon, Pacheco, and CEH. We know this team does not run the ball enough for you to see multiple running backs in this backfield providing fantasy football value. So until further notice, Isaiah Pacheco will be plummeting down rankings primarily based off the usage that we had with Clyde Edwards-Helaire today. Now, real quick, we are a couple likes away from hitting 300 likes on the stream. If you have not hit that like button yet, please make sure you go down there and drop a like. And Mike asking, which Chiefs receiver can we trust besides Travis Kelce? So if y'all were in the live stream earlier today, y'all heard us saying, yep, stay away from Sky, stay away from Tony. These players are not interesting. The reason being is if you look at the Chiefs, and this is why I really didn't draft many Chiefs wide receivers this year, they are going through and they are spreading the ball out to everybody in this offense. Every single player gets a little tiny piece. MVS, 2 receptions. Justin Watson, 2 receptions. Noah Gray got himself 3. Rashee Rice got himself 3. Blake Bell got himself a couple. McKinnon got himself 1. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was out there as well. Richie James was out there for a bit. Justin Ross was out there for a bit. Tony was out there for a bit, looking like the worst wide receiver in the NFL. And Sky Moore was in that running as well. So the only 2 players that look startable right now for the Kansas City Chiefs are Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. That's what I expected going into the season outside of what we had with the running backs. I actually thought that Isaiah Pacheco would be startable in fantasy, but until further notice, he's not with the Clyde Edwards-Helaire workload. You can't. Now, going over and looking at what we have with the Lions, little bit of an interesting spot in that, yes, David Montgomery went out there and Montgomery had a massive role. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't really. With that being said, this was the perfect game environment for David Montgomery. Going forward in games that the Detroit Lions are trailing, Jahmyr Gibbs will expand his role. I understand a lot of people were very frustrated with our ranking of Jahmyr Gibbs, at least initially. I caved a bit. I moved him up to running back 16 this week. But now going forward, I think we have to be a little more realistic, and this is why we were saying you can't start rookie wide receivers, you can't start rookie tight ends. I was making an exception for Bijan Robinson. I was making an exception for Jahmyr Gibbs. Say you can start these running backs with all the pedigree in the world because we assume they have a large role week 1. I don't think you should be panicking with Jahmyr Gibbs. It wasn't the game environment for him. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it was his first NFL game ever. He's not Kadarius Toney. He's not Sky Moore. He's not out of excuses. Please don't overreact. Do not go out there and panic when it comes to Gibbs. Chuck says drop a tier. No, don't trade away Gibbs. Please don't trade away Gibbs. Now, going over to what we have with the receivers in KC, I don't want to say anything about Josh Reynolds. He's just going to be one of these random guys. He's just a depth option. You're not going out there picking up Josh Reynolds. Please don't overthink it. Don't think this is someone you could start going forward. That would be an overreaction to week 1. Going over and looking at what we had with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown was the wide receiver who put out that video 2 days ago, saying that this was your last chance to buy him. He still looked good. I think it could have been an even bigger game for Amon-Ra St. Brown if we saw more passing volume for Jared Goff. But the number one thing I need to take a massive L on here, ladies and gentlemen, and I was way wrong, similar to what we were saying previously. I thought you could not start a rookie wide receiver. I thought you could not start a rookie tight end week 1. Even if Sam LaPorta had a great role, I was sitting here going, you know what? Yeah, Sam LaPorta has a great role, but ultimately, can we really trust a rookie wide receiver right out the gate? Or a rookie tight end, that is. Well, Sam LaPorta looked damn good. Sam LaPorta looked like a poor man's TJ Hawkinson out there. So if you started LaPorta, I know he only had 5 receptions, 39 receiving yards. Ultimately, based on the volume, based off the role that he had in this offense, you made the right call starting Sam LaPorta. I was wrong. I think Sam LaPorta looks like a low-end tight end 1 going forward, and LaPorta is startable in fantasy. With that being said, I'm not super pumped about him, right? I still ultimately, at the end of the day, think this is someone you can be excited about at the end of the season. Will take some time for a rookie tight end to fully acclimate, but nonetheless, LaPorta looked great. I'm very sorry if I told you to bench him. Not that sorry. He scored about 8.5 points. Now, if we're looking at Goff, nothing's really changed with Jared Goff. He still has absolutely no rushing upside. So from a fantasy football perspective, we're just kind of chilling here, right? We're saying, okay, with Goff, maybe he can be a good real life option. Maybe the Detroit Lions can be good, but I don't necessarily think we need to be rushing out there to pick up Jared Goff and go start Jared Goff. This is still someone that has a severely capped ceiling based off the overall rushing upside that he has. So going forward, I think that not much has changed for the Chiefs. The only guys that we're going to be able to start will be Mahomes, Kelce. I know the Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire usage may seem a little bit skewed based off the Pacheco hip injury he saw earlier in the game, but in reality, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was in there at the very end as well. I hate seeing Clyde Edwards-Helaire out there at all. I'm not starting Isaiah Pacheco till we see him with a large enough role where it makes sense. Going over to the Detroit Lions, I am still going to be starting David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs every single week. Even if it was a bad Gibbs week this week, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is still a top 24 running back in fantasy, particularly in a full PPR format. Like we were saying, if you're in a non-PPR league, there you sell Jahmyr Gibbs because Jahmyr Gibbs is the receiving down back in this offense, and David Montgomery is going to have the red zone role, similar to what we saw with Jamal Williams last season. Going over to the receivers, the only startable receiver with the Detroit Lions will be Amon-Ra St. Brown. He will be a stud, and you're super pumped about it. And I was wrong when it comes to the Detroit Lions tight end, Sam LaPorta. Sam LaPorta does look startable in fantasy. He looks like a top 10 tight end out the gate. And yes, I think you should be very excited. But now we are through with that. Let's go ahead and let me know in the live chat, what were your reactions with this game, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you thought I didn't recap anything correctly here, if you disagree, because I'd really like to know your opinion. And of course, if you have not done so already, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we are closing in on 700 likes this stream. If you play fantasy football, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be live streaming every single day until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, now is the time to do so, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, on Underdog, you can get a 100% deposit match up to $100 with promo code FLOCK, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And on top of all this, ladies and gentlemen, you get an exclusive Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets on Monday night. Plus, if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, you get an additional mystery special pick'em. I've never seen Underdog have two special pick'ems the same week, so please make sure you are taking advantage of that. Boy says, boy, I'm happy I listened to you about Tony. Thank you for being clutch. No, thank you, my man, and I apologize if I told anybody to go through and bench Sam LaPorta. LaPorta looked good, and yes, LaPorta, very impressive. Duke says he won 2K on the Lions 6+6. That is awesome, my man. Perquill says not a single Chiefs wide receiver should be rostered. No, they can't be. I mean, if they're going out there and they're spreading the ball around that much, you can't. Zach in Texas is a Bengals fan. I was so happy tonight. You Bengals fans are weird. It's weird how they announced the Joe Burrow extension right at the beginning of the game. Kadarius phony. I like it. And yes, Tony is not him. That is 100% true, ladies and gentlemen. And please do not overreact. If you're calling Gibbs a bust, this is literally Jahmyr Gibbs' first NFL game ever. I was sitting there watching the game and I told my girlfriend, I was like, guess how old that kid is out there? He's 21. And he's out there and playing the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Don't be sitting here overreacting, thinking, oh my gosh, no, I cannot start Jahmyr Gibbs anymore. Gibbs is going to be just fine. You don't need to worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. But we had some donation questions. Let me go ahead and pull those up. I'll be answering all your fantasy football questions, ladies and gentlemen. I'm assuming I'm going to be live until like 2 in the morning tonight, answering all the questions that y'all have. We have a lot to talk about here. And thank you so much for everybody coming out and hanging out with us. Really, really do appreciate y'all. Now let's get this over here. Our first one coming out. Actually, I don't know if this is our first one. We probably need to go ahead and look to find the one way, way, way before this. But give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. Sean coming out says, Kadarius Toney is the worst receiver in the league. Not going to fault you at all there, my man. I think you can make a strong argument that Kadarius Toney is the worst wide receiver in the NFL. In says Lions Super Bowl. Okay, let's not overreact here, my friend. Jacob coming out says, Monty usage was amazing. He's going to be this year's Jamal. I think he does have touchdown upside. You're going to be way more excited about Montgomery in a non-PPR format, that is. Nick says, where are all those 6-round Toney truthers? It is so damn funny. So damn funny people used to take Toney over Mike Evans. Watson says, can't wait for Gibbs to get a bigger role. I mean, yeah, Gibbs looked damn good when he was out there, right? I mean, the limited action Jahmyr Gibbs had, he looked great. We just need to go ahead and we need to get a little bit more from Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, I'm checking my teeth, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, do I have a floss in here? Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and get our next one going. This one coming out from R3D. Reynolds looking pretty nice for a flex pickup. Not going to lie. No, if you're picking up Reynolds, you're overreacting to week 1. Don't think about it. Logan says, start Rachaad White or Deontay Johnson in the flex. We're going to go ahead. We will go Deontay. Rachaad White, nasty offense. Mike says, which Chiefs receiver can we trust besides Kelsey? None of them. Can I get this out of my tooth? We got it, ladies and gentlemen. We got it. But thank you for letting me know. Now, our next one coming out from SSG. No, you should not be worried about Gibbs, RB2. And for the love of God, do not think you can go out there and buy the dip on Sky Moore. We tried warning y'all before the game. We went out there and said, if you start Sky Moore, you deserve what's coming for you. There's no reason to think that, okay, Sky Moore all of a sudden is now an intriguing buy. The man had like 1 target. You got 0.4 points based off some rushing usage. There is no reason to come out here and try to make arguments and excuses for Sky Moore. There was no Kansas City Chiefs. And I mean, there were no Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers with excuses. Kelsey was not in this game. If they were going to break out, one of them should have broke out. And Zacharias says, you're the best, Mason. What are your thoughts on Sam LaPorta tonight? LaPorta, extremely impressive from a rookie tight end to go out there and perform that way week 1. Phenomenal. Wyatt says, I got Richardson, Rodgers, Pollard, Walker, Wilson, Kupp, Lockett, Herbert, McKinnon, JSN, Van Jefferson. What are we going to look to do? I mean, overall, I think it's a great team. I mean, we have Rodgers, Wilson stacked up. We have the long-term upside of Richardson. For now, I think we're going to be sitting on our hands and we're going to be waiting until we get Cooper Kupp back in. Once we get Cooper Kupp back in, then at that point, we can look to package a wide receiver with Kenneth Walker to potentially get a long-term upgrade. But for now, we're just going to be relaxing. Mato says, can we drop McKinnon? This is an interesting question as well, ladies and gentlemen. Can y'all please let me know in the live chat right now? We have 5,000 people out here. I'm assuming the majority of y'all play fantasy football. 1, we are 2 likes away from hitting 1,000 likes on this live stream. Go down there, drop a like on the stream. We could break our all-time like record on this live stream. We've streamed for 132 days in a row. Make sure you go down there and drop that like. 2, ladies and gentlemen, please let me know. Are you going to drop Jarrett McKinnon? Spam the chat, yes or no. That's all I want to hear. Yes or no. Are you dropping Jarrett McKinnon? Just yes or no. Keep it super simple. Drop CH and everything. That's what I'm saying. You can't trust anybody in a 3-man backfield. 3-man backfield. No, yes, no, yes, no, yes. Yes, yes, no, yes. The thing is, the man's like 31 too. He's like 32. He was drafted in 2014. Like, you're not sitting here and saying, oh, would Jarrett McKinnon give him time? He's not Jahmyr Gibbs. He's not a rookie. He's not going to expand his role, you know? So this is a 3-man backfield between Pacheco, CH, and McKinnon. I don't know if you can rely on him. I don't know. And JN says, from my guy Lando, Tony Take, he's an unreliable, glorified gadget guy made of glass with 1 productive prime time game versus the Cowboys 2 years ago. Perfect way to put it. I mean, my issue with Kadarius Toney, with where he was going in fantasy football drafts earlier in the offseason, once he was injured, people realized to push him down. But earlier in the offseason, when he was going ahead of Evans, I was sitting here going, yeah, y'all can look at the per route run numbers with Kadarius Toney, come out here and get excited. But ultimately, he's a gadget wide receiver. I don't know. Jacob says, even when the Lions are behind, Campbell has been adamant that Montgomery has goal line duties, so will always have value. Yeah, I'm not saying David Montgomery is not going to have value long term. I'm just saying that you're also going to get value from Jahmyr Gibbs. It's one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You're going to have multiple running backs with value here. Kingsley says, Pacheco, I think, will be fine. Coming off an injury, and Andy Reid fumbled multiple times, not giving the ball on 3rd and 1. Today, I think, was an outlier. Obviously, I'm not dropping Isaiah Pacheco. I think if you wanted to drop Jarrett McKinnon, you go do you. I think you can if you want. But with Pacheco, I can't trust him until we see otherwise. I think he has to be someone on your bench. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Yakov says, starters are Jalen Hurts, Tony Pollard, Dalvin, Amari, St. Brown, Pitts, McLaurin in the flex. The bench, we have Edwards, Elijah Mitchell, Mingo, JSN, Tank, Meyer. How to get a better running back too? Do we try to trade? And if so, for who? I would actually rather not trade. I would rather just go ahead and let go of Michael Mayer. See if we can pick up another running back off the waiver wire that potentially has upside. And see if we can find just, a solution to the running back issue through the waiver wire and depth as we go through the beginning of the season. Robbie says, Hey, Mason, what are we thinking with the Chiefs wide receivers and McKinnon tonight? The only Chiefs players going forward that have fantasy football value and you can confidently rely when they play are Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I thought previously Pacheco was on that short list, but I guess I was wrong. I guess it's a 3-man running back by committee, and in a 3-man running back by committee, they're not viable either. So I would say only go through and only look at Mahomes and Kelce. Let me refresh this page real quick so I can keep on pulling up these questions for y'all. And of course, as I do this, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, link in the live chat, link in the description, link in the comment section. Not too late to go ahead and take advantage of the Josh Allen special pick'em on Monday night, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets. And also an additional mystery special pick'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy. Only going to get those if you use promo code FLOCK. And you'll also get a 100% deposit match up to $200. Our 2023 rankings at a free trial to flockfantasy.com. But Poe coming out says, boy, I'm happy I listened to you about Tony. Thank you for being clutch. No, you're welcome, my man. 20 says, you can take your victory lap on Tony now. You better believe we're doing it, my man. You better believe we're doing it. I'm getting my victory lap out on Tony and Sky Moore. I mean, we took a risk. This tweet went viral before the game. If you look at all those quote tweets, people were saying, oh, Mason, this guy's an idiot. Start Kadarius Toney. Who's laughing now, ladies and gentlemen? You can call me an idiot all you want. Caliber says, the Chiefs should have paid up for Hopkins when they had the chance. It is so crazy. You can't go through and you can't. Wait, what? I'm on freezing cold takes? Oh, let's pull this up. This is awesome. Am I really on freezing cold takes here? Was it when I said the Lions were going to lose? Freezing cold takes. Hell yeah. I said it was when the Lions lose to the Chiefs. The Lions fans would be celebrating. That's funny. Derek says, Terry or Sutton in a 10-team league. I'm not going to trust Terry coming off the turf toe. We are going to go ahead. We're going to play Sutton, my man. Now, Edis coming out and says, 10-team PPR. We have Hurts at quarterback. Running back, we have Bijan, Walker, wide receiver, Lamb, Ridley. We have London, Schultz, and the flex, Dotson. On the bench, we have McKinnon, Swift, Tony, Jameson, Deion Jackson. Want to go for Devonta Smith pairing. Any other advice? I 100% agree. I think we want to go try to get Devonta Smith if we can to stack with Jalen Hurts. We're going to trade Ridley for Smith. I would love to package together a small piece on the bench, such as Jameson Williams. And outside of that, I think it's a great roster. Love having Jalen Hurts here. Now, one other thing that I do want to point out. While I still stand by the fact that I don't think Jameson Williams is someone that you should be rostering right now in fantasy, this offense is going to be phenomenal with Jameson Williams. Because the one thing that this team is missing is the vertical field stretching option. You go back and you look at this game. I mean, the vast majority of plays that the Detroit Lions went out there and ran, they were close to the line of scrimmage. They were dump offs. They were screens. I mean, I didn't see a pass go further than 20 yards downfield, or very, very rarely did that happen. You add in Jameson Williams, you get the vertical element to this Detroit Lions offense. Then all of a sudden, that creates more space underneath for guys like Montgomery, Gibbs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's going to be a really good spot. Okay. So now our next question coming out from Lasagna Lover says, Chiefs going 0-17. Confirm. You heard it here first. Lazul the Great says, Jahmyr Gibbs had like a 25% snap share and still put up 8 PPR points. Obviously bummed out tonight, but he looks so explosive on every touch. Yeah, it's his first game NFL ever. First NFL game ever. I'm still playing him next week. I'm not moving him down our rest of season rankings. He's still a guy that you're very excited about in a full PPR format. Still someone you're worried about in a non-PPR league based off the Montgomery red zone usage. But yeah, no, don't go out there and panic sell Jahmyr Gibbs. Joey says 10-team PPR league where we have Burrow, Najee, Gibbs, Adams, Lamb, Ingram, Waddle with Dalvin on the bench. My man, don't panic on Gibbs. You're going to be a great spot. We have elite level wide receivers. If we have a depth wide receiver, we can package with either Lamb or Adams to get to Jamar Chase to stag with Burrow. I'd like it even more. Lee says Pittman or Akers in the flex. I'm going to go Akers, both bad offenses. At least Akers has guaranteed volume. And thoughts on Rashee Rice? If you really wanted to roster him, you can, but you can't start him, obviously. Maybe you can roster him in case they go out there and they get rid of Sky and they're not getting rid of Sky, but getting rid of Tony. Here for the meme says, paying money to laugh at 19, aka Mr. Drop Your Pass. I know. What is crazy is if you are looking at Kadarius Toney, he spent the offseason going through and talking trash to New York Giants fans through Twitter DMs. Do you know how many Twitter DMs I get of people calling me an idiot? Of people accurately telling me I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about? You ignore them, big guy. Focus on the game. Focus on catching the ball. Now, Tobias coming out says, last year Reynolds was a solid option for me. He has had a few weeks of consistent 12 points per game at flex. It's not that bad of a pickup while Jamison Williams is out. The thing is, we're looking for players with upside. Josh Reynolds does not have it. So if you're looking at Reynolds, I understand the thought process here, but I fundamentally think if you're going through and rushing to pick him up, at the end of the day, you're overreacting based off week 1, and you're wasting a roster spot regardless. Just get it done says, start DJ Moore or Evans. We had Gibbs tonight. I'm going to go with the upside of Mike Evans. Great matchup that we have against Minnesota. Tilted Hippo says, should we trade Kupp and Andrews for Wilson and Freiermuth? This is a very, very interesting question, my man. I think that this does have a lot to do with your overall roster construction. I think this has a lot to do with your league settings. But can I ask the live chat this, please? Can everybody please go to the chat? Let me know what side you're going with. Would you rather have Kupp and Andrews or Garrett Wilson and Pat Freiermuth? Please spam the chat. Let me know. Okay, Cade says, yes, he would go get Garrett Wilson. Yes, get Wilson. No, keep Kupp. Kupp. It looks like everybody's saying Kupp. We got a couple Wilsons out here, but the majority of people are saying Cooper Kupp here, my friend. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from Big Anime Guy says, your assessment of the Bucs offense is going to come back to bite you after Sunday. Evans and Godwin are massive stakes this season for their value. What does that mean? What's a stake? What does a massive stake for their value mean? We ranked Mike Evans like wide receiver, 18, Chris Godwin wide receiver 19, both mid wide receiver 2s. I think that you can start both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I think they have guaranteed volume. And I think you're at a spot where it's a good matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. So I don't know if this is something saying we're too low on Mike Evans, we're too high on Mike Evans. What the hell is a massive stake? I had a massive steak for dinner. I don't know what that has to do with anything, though. Now, Ray coming out says, have 3 leagues PPR. Need your thoughts on the flex options for 4. Each of them can only start 1. We have Ayuk, Herbert. We're going to be going with Khalil Herbert. Ayuk, Akers. We're going to be going with Brandon Ayuk. We have Godwin, Madison, Miles, London, Ayuk. We're going to be ranking these guys in that order. In that exact order there. So I don't know how many we need in that last one. Just take them there. Luke says, so glad I traded McKinnon when I got the chance and I got Javonte. Oh, that is beautiful, my man. That is beautiful. Now, Shadow Raptor coming out and says, do you think Jonathan Taylor plays this season? If so, what should be the expectations on Colts or another team? I am operating under the assumption that Jonathan Taylor will be playing this next season. Now, of course, by no means is that a guarantee. Of course, we are going through and we are taking, a considerable amount of risk when we roster Jonathan Taylor. But it's also something that we are looking to do so we can maximize as much upside as possible, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Keith says, starting Jalen Hurts, Breece Hall, James Cook, Chase, Brown, Ingram, 2 flex, Deontay, and London. My friend will give me Bijan and Waddle for Jamar Chase. Should I do it? Hell yes. In a double flex league, go get Bijan and Waddle. Love that, my friend. Zachary Link, always happy to see you, my dude. Coming out saying, dropping Sky Moore after that wide receiver room meltdown. What's the best pickup? Zay, Kendrick Osborne, KJ Osborne, Gallup, Jaden Reed. Smash the like button, chat. Yes, hit that like button if you have not done so already. And help Zachary out. Zachary's been a long-time member of the flock. He helps us with more than y'all could ever imagine. Hit up Zachary Link Design if you need any graphic work design. I'm going to go Zay Jones. Let me know in the live chat what direction you're going in. What wide receiver are you picking up there? And Calvin says, just drop Gibbs. For the love of God, I hope you were joking. For the love of, do not look to trade Gibbs. Do not panic on Gibbs. Gibbs is fine. Okay, it was his first NFL game ever. Okay, we got Sky, Jones, Reed, Jones, Reed. I mean, I guess maybe Reed is intriguing with everybody being injured in Green Bay. I just think that Zay is going to be in 2 wide receiver sets there. Jacob coming out with a massive donation. Thank you so much, my friend, saying 12-team PPR league. We have Justin Herbert at quarterback. Running back, we have Pollard and Joe Mixon. Wide receiver, we have Mike Williams, Christian Watson. Tight end, Juwan Johnson. And then the flex, we have Dobbins. Bench is Zay Flowers, Bateman, Mingo, Ayuk, Gabe Davis. First waiver wire this week. What is the move going forward? My man, love this team. We have the top end quarterback production, top end running back production. We have Herbert stacked up with Mike Williams. We have Dobbins in the flex. Great spot against the Houston Texans. Going down to the bench, we're prioritizing high upside wide receivers. The only thing that I would look to say is I don't want to be rostering this many wide receivers overall. I mean, right now, if we're looking at this team, we have Mike Williams, Christian Watson, Zay Flowers, Bateman, Mingo, Ayuk, Davis. We're rostering 7 wide receivers, 3 running backs, 1 tight end, of which is Juwan Johnson. So I want to go ahead. I want to be putting Brandon Ayuk in the starting lineup over Christian Watson this week, based off what we have with the Christian Watson injury reports. And then on top of that, I want us to go through. I want us to move on from a wide receiver at the bottom end of this bench. I would look to go ahead. I would look to drop Jonathan Mingo and pick up another tight end when we have Juwan Johnson. If you don't want to go ahead and do that, I think we have more than enough flexibility to potentially go ahead and try to package together one of Brandon Ayuk or Zay Flowers with Juwan Johnson for a long-term upgrade at tight end. But definitely I want to be at least rostering 2 tight ends if we're only going to hold on to Juwan Johnson. Now, Slushy says, weekly winners draft last night got Tyreek at 4, Kelsey at pick 20. That is a great team. If Kelsey only misses a week, that's nuts, my man. Claudio coming out says, Lamar, Garrett Wilson, Christian Kirk, Saquon. I was a little confused there. Stevenson, Montgomery, Waller, Jamal, Bateman, Hollywood, Evans, Elijah Moore, Van Jefferson. Beautiful team, elite running back, elite wide receiver, ton of tight end production. Jamal for the short term in the flex. If we can in the long term after this week, package Hollywood and Jamal to get a long-term upgrade at that flex spot, I would really like it. I'm all out on the Arizona Cardinals offense. And honestly, I would look to, if we could trade like Hollywood and Darren Waller to go get Mark Andrews to stack with Lamar, I think that'd be interesting as well. Now, Stu says 2 super flexes, Richardson, Addison, and White. We're going to go with Anthony Richardson and Rachaad White. Similar to what we said when we were looking at the rookie tight ends, rookie wide receivers, I'm not starting week 1. Wait until we see the breakout, then start them the next week. So y'all know how I said, do not start Sam LaPorta this week. Wait until the breakout, start him next week. Week 2, we can now start Sam LaPorta, but don't start Jordan Addison until we see it. And ladies and gentlemen, let me refresh this so I can keep pulling up these questions. And as I do, drop a like on this live stream. We have a chance to break our all-time like record in this stream. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog, you can go find that link in the live chat in the description in the comment section. Promo code FLOX going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $100, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flogfantasy.com. And now is the best time to get on Underdog because they have an exclusive Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard Monday night against the Jets, only for people who use promo code FLOG on Underdog. And if you're new to Underdog, you're also going to get an additional mystery special pick'em on top of that. So please make sure you are taking advantage. But to go through and find our next question, this one coming out from Devastator. I'm an idiot. I can't read. Is Luke Musgrave a possible sneaky good tight end pickup this weekend if Watson doesn't play and Dobbs is shaky? Good preseason, or am I being too cute here? Similar to what we were just mentioning, I generally don't want to be starting a rookie tight end in week 1. I will admit the situation is beautiful for Musgrave. So maybe if you're like in a DFS tournament and you really want a super cheap option, then you can. In your regular league, probably not. Alex, we're going to go Deebo Samuel over Rachaad White for the flex spot. Sergio says, what do we do in the flex? We have Herbert, Bijan, Jamal, Lockett, Williams, Andrews, Christian Watson. And then on the bench, we have Kupp, Khalil Herbert, Charbonnet, Bateman, Mims, Bigsby, LaPorta. Thinking of putting Sam LaPorta at tight end and Andrews in the flex. No, sir, you can't. I understand and I agree. Sam LaPorta looked really good tonight, and it's a great situation for Sam LaPorta going forward. But at the same time, I mean, we have to be very realistic here. And I think instead we should be going ahead and we should be looking to put Khalil Herbert in there for the flex spot when we have no Christian Watson, my man. And when Watson's back, you can start Watson. Now, Ron Fee coming out says, drop Tony and or Nico Collins. Pick up any of these options. Shaheed, Isaiah Hodgins, Van Jefferson, Boyd, Reed, Gallup, Thielen, Mingo, Dobbs, Bateman, JSN, or Elijah Moore. Drop both Tony and Nico Collins. Pick up Jackson Smith-Njigba and Elijah Moore. They have significantly more upside rest of season. Absolutely wild that JSN's on your waiver wire. Now, Edis coming out and says, follow up to the last dono. Can I trade London and Dotson? Okay, let's go ahead and let's find this if we can. Okay, my friend, that was not in this live stream. I'm sorry. I cannot find that. I would say in general, yeah, I mean, if you have depth wide receiver, you feel fine trading John Dotson. Now, Josh says, went running back heavy, advice on trades for wide receiver. 12-team standard league. We have Fields, CMC, Jacobs, Etienne, Wilson, Ridley. And then on the bench, we have James Cook, Dalvin Cook, Javonte, Madison, Dotson, and Hollywood Brown. I agree. I mean, you are phenomenal at running back here. Hell, if you wanted to go through and if you wanted to take, say, Alexander Madison and Jahan Dotson and go get a wide receiver in the range of, I don't think we can get to him, but if we can somehow get Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, if we want to go down a little bit further, Amari Cooper, DK Metcalf, that's something we could look at, my friend. Great team. Now, Patrick, longtime member of the flock, says start Garrett Wilson versus Buffalo or Higgins versus Cleveland. Full BBR, very tough matchup. We will be going Garrett Wilson against Buffalo. We have Adams as the other guy. Should I be scared of the Buffalo secondary? It is a tough matchup overall, but we're still going to be playing. Okay, Christian says, have you heard anything about the Kenneth Walker injury? Kenneth Walker was limited at practice today with the groin. He is questionable for Sunday. I'm going to operate under the assumption he's good to go until further notice. Andy says, flex Sanders, Godwin, Evans, Christian Watson. Thanks. So thank you, my friend. I think it's going to go, we're going to take Miles Sanders with the guaranteed volume he has against Atlanta. Heisenberg says, PBR, double flex, pick 2, Gabe Davis, Gibson, Dotson, Charbonnet, Devon Achane, Tyler Algier, Tyreek, Garrett Wilson are my wide receivers. Walker, Madison are my running backs. Great team overall. We're going to go ahead. We are going to be playing Jahan Dotson, even if Terry McLaurin's going to go. And we're going to go with full BBR format. I think we can afford to go Gabe Davis. Let's go for it. Monday night game. Let's have some fun here. Now, James coming out says, 10-team PBR starters, Dak, Bijan, Dalvin, Chase, Lamb, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. And then on the bench, we have Keenan, Kamara, Taylor, Odell, Johnson, Purdy, Judy. Looking to boost my bench for the bye week /IR. No, you do not want to do that. Your bench is already loaded. The last thing we ever want to be doing is making trades for your bench. You're going to get Taylor back in the long term. If anything, I think we just drop Purdy, pick up another wide receiver or running back. But long term, we have Taylor. Hell, and right now we even have Keenan Allen on that bench. I would go ahead and, side note, I would actually look to potentially sell Keenan Allen in a package with Dalvin Cook and get an elite level running back in return. 10-team league, your depth bench options aren't going to matter. What's going to matter in your 10-team format are the elite studs at the top end. Clashing said, Kupp and James Cook for Waddle and Najee. Oh, go get Waddle and Najee ASAP. Caden says, I started God tonight instead of Dak. Am I cooked? Hey, you'll be okay, my man. I'm not going to lie. I probably would have gone ahead and started Goff over Dak too. It was a great matchup. Now, running back Russ says, pick 2, Ayuk, McLaurin, or Dobbins. We're going to go with Dobbins and Ayuk, not trusting McLaurin. C-Dub says, Tony just deleted his Twitter account. Oh my gosh. R.I.P. Kadarius Tony. XD coming out says, Kirk or Terry McLaurin. We're going to go with Christian Kirk. Please do not trust the Terry McLaurin turf toe. He may play, he may be good, but there's just no reason to go out there and throw him out there. I mean, he could be a decoy for all we know, where he could be creating space underneath for guys like Dotson and Brian Robinson to get the value. Okay. Well, let's refresh this so we can bring these questions back up. And we are 1 like away from hitting 2,000 likes on this live stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream, ladies and gentlemen. Be our 2,000th like of the stream. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, it's not too late. You can find the link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK's going to get you a 100% deposit match up to $200. Plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings. And also now is the best time to get on Underdog because you have a Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard for Monday night against the Jets. And on top of that, if you were new to Underdog, you get an additional mystery special pick'em Only going to get both with promo code FLOCK, so make sure you are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's go ahead and let's find our next question. Coming out from Hassan says, 12-team PPR just drafted. Rate the squad. We have Lawrence, CMC, Stevenson, Adams, Keenan, Ingram, Godwin, Tua, Jamal, Javonte, Flowers, Myers, and Dion. Thanks for a great team, my man, overall. I mean, I definitely want to go ahead and play Jamal in the flex spot if we can for this week. And honestly, we have so much depth here as well. If you really wanted to go ahead and see if we could package together maybe Jamal Williams with Chris Godwin, get an elite level wide receiver in return for a team that maybe has Jonathan Taylor, a team that maybe has Alvin Kamara, a team that maybe really needs some running back help, I think that'd make a lot of sense just because we have so much depth overall. Now, Steve coming out says, what do? I know I'm screwed. Dynasty PPR format. Well, my man, if it's Dynasty, we're in a good spot. If Dynasty, we can always pivot and we can always go through for the long-term sell. But anyway, we're going to be with Daniel Jones, Pierce, Madison, JSN, Olave, Musgrave, Swift, Lazard. And then on the bench, we have Rice, Edmonds, Reed, Mingo, Campbell. Yeah, this team can't compete, my man. I'm sorry to say it. And of course, Dynasty, this is the beauty of it. Dynasty, you can go through and you can tear it down. We can play for the long term and we can just think about 2024, 2025. So what I'm going to look to do is I'm going to sell any asset that is not going to continue to rise in value. JSN will continue to rise. Chris Olave will continue to rise. You don't need to sell the rookies. But when we're looking at veteran running backs such as Alexander Madison, DeAndre Swift, go forward, sell these 4 future picks, try to burn this bad boy down, get the 101 in the 2024 rookie draft, draft Marvin Harrison Jr., and be able to build around Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Olave, and Jackson Smith-Njigba, my friend, and name your team the Ohio State wide receiver core. Michael says, what do you think? 12-team app PPR format. We have Allen, Cook, Herbert, Waddle, Christian Watson, Kelsey, Evans. And then on the bench, we have Johnson, P. Ryan, Richardson, Mitchell, Dell, Bateman, Bigsby. Drop Tank Dell. Tank Dell has no upside. I'm sorry to say it. I would love to root for him. I live in Texas. I'd like him to be good. But, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a wide receiver that is so small. We've only seen 3 wide receivers ever as light as him put up 100-point fantasy seasons, and they barely crossed the threshold. So drop Tank Dell, pick him another running back off the waiver wire with upside, or maybe a wide receiver that you like instead. And outside of that, it's a great team. We just really need Kelsey back. We get Kelsey back, we're golden. Now, Vader coming out says, trade Jefferson and Tyreek for Joe Mixon. If it's a league with multiple flex spots, go for it. I mean, I think you'll be in a good spot. And what league with one flex is always tough selling the best player in the deal. Devin says, give Calvin Ridley, Breece Hall, Drake London, and Jackson Smith-Njigba for Garrett Wilson and George Pickens. Would you take it? Hell yes. I mean, if we're looking at this, Garrett Wilson's the best. Actually, no, never mind. Let's look. George Pickens, Drake London, or George Pickens, JSN, let's remove him. Garrett Wilson versus Ridley, Hall, London. It's going to be so dependent on your overall format. 10-team league, 1 flex. Yes, give me the best player in the deal. 12-team league, multiple flex spots. No, we probably want to keep the depth. Sorry, for a second, I overlooked Ridley there. If we have Ridley, it's going to be much harder to make that trade. Now, Omar coming out says, full BBR, we have Herbert, Metcalf, Lamb, Lockett, Pollard, Pierce, and Njoku, Scary Terry. Should I trade Lockett and Herbert for Dak and Henry? Hell yes, my man. The points per game bump that we're going to be getting going from Lockett to Derrick Henry will dramatically outweigh the loss that we're going to get going from Herbert to Dak Prescott. J-Mac coming out again says, should I trade Burks and Elijah Mitchell or Charbonnet for David Montgomery? Yeah, hell yeah. Let's go trade Burks and Elijah Mitchell for, yes. We have Bijan, Fields, Wilson, Ridley, Kittle. Generally, I thought it would cost way more for you to trade for Montgomery. Can everybody please let me know in the live chat right now? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Treylon Burks and Elijah Mitchell or David Montgomery? Please let me know, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know in the live chat. Are you going to go Burks and Mitchell or David Montgomery? Yeah, it looks like Montgomery. Monty. Yeah, it looks like everybody in the chat's going Monty there, my man. I assume that if you were going to trade for Montgomery, it costs way more than that right now. What are you doing? Says, should I trade Gibbs for Pearson Akers? Hell no, keep Gibbs. Stu says flex Ayuk or White. I think we answered this earlier, my man. Or did we not? I think we answered. I'll ask the live chat as well as we refresh this. We are going to have to refresh so we can keep bringing these up. But also, everybody in the chat, are you going to go Brandon Ayuk or Rachaad White this week? Ayuk, tough matchup against Pittsburgh. Rachaad White, horrendous offense overall. Okay, let's move this over to do. We got Ayuk, White, Ayuk, White, White, Ayuk, 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 Ayuk. Ayuk, White. Yeah, it looks like most people are going to go ahead and take Brandon Ayuk there, my man. Ross says, time to smash the panic button on Sky Moore. Hell yes. Sorry if you answered this already. Just joined the stream. No, yeah. The Chiefs wide receiver court can't start anybody. This was their shot, okay? If you're going to be productive, you have to do it when there's no Travis Kelce. There's no way in hell they're overcoming, Travis Kelce to be good in fantasy if they couldn't do it week one. Yes, a full-blown panic, my man. Now, Jaden coming out says, 12-team BBR. We have Richardson, Bijan, Etienne, Wilson, DK Pitts, Watson in the flex. And then on the bench, we have James Cook, Odell, Zay, Schultz. Any moves we should make, and who should we start at the flex? So if we're going to be looking at the flex, I think we're going to be playing James Cook. And I think that there are no moves we should make in the short term. In the short term, we're just sending up a prayer that we get a quick breakout from Anthony Richardson. And we're waiting to see what the role is for Odell Beckham Jr. Claudio says, say less. I'll try to get that. Smash that like. Thank you, my man. Yes. If you have not done so already, listen to Claudio. Go down there, smash that like, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen. We just hit 180,000 subscribers on this channel. Now, Ty says, 10-team standard league, no flex. We have Lamar Richardson, Bijan Mixon, Taylor Hill, Samuel Pittman, Goddard, and Schultz. What are your thoughts? I think long-term, we are in a beautiful spot when Taylor comes back. And I will say in a 10-team standard, no flex league, you do want to prioritize getting the elite level quarterback. So I'm fine if you want to roster both those quarterbacks there. Lalo says flex Stevenson or Williams, worried about the Eagles defense. I understand being worried about the Eagles defense. I still probably go with Ramondre Stevenson, my friend. Colin coming out says Burrow, Goff, Jacobs, Montgomery, Gibson, Swift, Miller, Keenan, DJ Ayuk, Elijah Moore, Dobbs, Kelce, LaPorta, Kincaid. What should we do? At this point, we try to sell Sam LaPorta, my man. LaPorta looked great tonight. Everybody saw it. I think you'll actually be able to get some value for him. And fundamentally, the issue that we have is we have Kelce and Kincaid. Is he ever going to make a difference for us? No. If we could go through and sell Sam LaPorta and Antonio Gibson to go get a running back upgrade, let's do it. If we can go sell Jared Goff and Brandon Ayuk to go get a wide receiver upgrade, let's do it. Because when we have Kelce, the last thing we can be doing is rostering, three, and I repeat, 3 tight ends on this team. I don't even want to have 2 if we have Travis Kelce. But we don't even need to do that. We can just do these donations in the chat. So next week coming out from Tristan says, 10-team, how can I improve? We have Herbert, Eckler, Jacobs, Higgins, Ridley, Goddard, DJ Moore. I really like the team overall. We have the Herbert-Eckler connection. If we could sell DJ Moore for Keenan Allen and just go all in on this offense, I think it makes a lot of sense. We have top-end wide receiver production. We have a well-balance between quarterback and tight end. I think you're in a great spot. Sheriff says, thoughts on Gibbs tonight? Thought he looked electric. Also, his touches will increase as the season goes on. I see too. I'm right with you. Gibbs looked good. It was his first NFL game ever. The last thing y'all need to be doing is going out there and panicking. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be just fine, ladies and gentlemen. If this is a buy low moment, he will be a buy low player. I don't want you to go out there and sell Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, professional certified hater coming out says, 12-team ESPN 1 flex. We have Lawrence at quarterback. Running back, we have Bijan Swift. Wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devonta Smith. Kincaid at tight end. Ridley at the flex. And then on the bench, we have Lockett, Pickens, Mitchell, McKinnon, Charbonnet, and Jamal Williams. Or is that Jameson Williams? If it's Jameson Williams, I would go out on cut Jameson Williams. And I don't necessarily want to be just rostering Dalton Kincaid. To rely on a rookie tight end that we've never seen before, it's extremely hard knowing just the historical trends that we've had with rookie tight end production. I would drop Jameson. Going to be very hard to make waiver wire moves at the beginning of the year. I'd pick up another tight end just in case Kincaid doesn't get the job done for us. Love the team outside of that. Love the Lawrence and Ridley stack. Vince says 10-team full BBR1 flex. We have Burrow at quarterback. Running back, we have CMC Jacobs. We have Waddle Amari, Pitts, Williams, Montgomery, Ayuk, Schultz, Treylon, Elijah Mitchell, Elijah Moore, Bigsby, Van Jefferson. What do you think? Great team overall. I would love it if we could trade Amari for T. Higgins, but to have CMC, Josh Jacobs, Waddle on the same team seems nuts. I probably want to roster 2 tight ends though if Dalton Schultz is our main guy. So outside of that one small trade, I also would look to potentially drop Van Jefferson, pick up another tight end. Shelby says, would you rather have Burrow, Chase, A.J. Brown, Saquon Dobbins, or Hurts, A.J. Brown, Metcalf, Eckler, Dobbins? Eckler to Saquon, slight downgrade. Hurts to Burrow, slight downgrade. A.J. Brown to Chase, upgrade. Personally, I really like going through and taking that shot on Jalen Hurts. I think he'd be the number 1 overall scoring fantasy in this year. Scoring option in fantasy this year. I'm going to go with the Hurts side. Jamie says, full BBR for the flex, Brees, Gabe Davis, or Burks. I think we're going to go ahead. We are going to be taking, we're going to go Brees here. We are. Okay. Elitist coming out says, can I 1-for-1 my Kenneth Walker for Jahmyr Gibbs? Who do you value most? Non-BBR format, you're going to go Walker, given the Montgomery role in the red zone. Full BBR league, you're going to be going Gibbs. Jero says 12-team BBR where we have Fields, Bijan, Mixon, Waddle, Lockett, Goddard, Dotson, bench. On the bench, we have Goff, Roschon, Pirine, Jamal, Sutton, Mims. Any trade ideas? First thing is get Jamal in the starting lineup over Jahan Dotson this week, especially with Terry McLaurin good to go. And outside of that, I don't really see too many trade ideas. I mean, I like the overall construction that we have. I definitely want to be churning the bottom into the bench. Like, if Mims doesn't show us anything week 1, just cut Mims, go pick up another running back off the waiver wire. But yeah, I like the team. Just make sure we're swapping Jamal and Dotson in the starting lineup. Sheriff says, thanks for the feedback. We're going to go Ramondre or Godwin. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Ramondre Stevenson here, my friend. Andrew says, how are you going to pump up Evans and Godwin, then talk down about Rachaad White? Because if you go ahead and if you do the historical research on if running backs can be elite in bad overall offenses on bad teams, historically speaking, we've never seen it. We've seen wide receivers time and time again go out there and be top options in fantasy on bad teams, especially if you're looking at the fact that Evans and Godwin have such a concentrated target share, especially if we're looking at the fact that Evans and Godwin have had the historical production on their side, and Rachaad White is just a raw projection that we've never seen actually be productive in fantasy. I think Evans and Godwin can clearly be top 24 wide receivers when Rachaad White can have a cap ceiling overall. Let's move this over. Connor says, any trade ideas or starts that help? We have Josh Allen, Tyreek, A.J. Brown, Stevenson, Dobbins, Higbee at tight end, Walker in the flex. And then on the bench, we have Sanders, Pittman, Kirk, Dotson, Njoku, and Jalen Warren. Great team overall. I think if we're going to look to do anything, we have so much depth here. We can look to afford to trade like Michael Pittman and Tyler Higbee to see if we can get to a tight end like Dallas Goedert, someone that we can start every single week just because we can afford it. It's a 10-team league with only one flex, and we have great wide receiver and running back depth. And we have no reason not to have a solid tight end. Now, Samuel coming out says, 12-team BBR, we have Mahomes, Chase, Kupp, Sutton, Nico Collins, Javonte, Brees, Pacheco, and Hawkinson. Went full upside, but worried about running back. What are your thoughts? Your running back is going to be a little bit concerning, especially with the Isaiah Pacheco usage that we saw today. I think that overall, maybe long-term, that we do need to be looking to make an upgrade at RB, but I'm going to be waiting until after Monday to see what the role is for Javonte and Hall. Sandman says, Jacobs, Ridley and Madison for Bijan, Waddle, Lockett. Jacobs to Bijan, upgrade. Ridley to Waddle, upgrade. Madison to Lockett, who cares? Let's go ahead and let's get Bijan and Waddle there, my friend. Okay. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, make sure you're going down there, dropping a like on this stream. We can break our all-time like record in this live stream. And also, if you have not checked out any of these player props on Underdog Fantasy before, it is not too late. You can still find the link in the live chat description comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to get you a 100% deposit match up to $200. Plus, you are going to get an exclusive Josh Allen more than less than half a passing yard special against the New York Jets on Monday night. And then an additional mystery special pick'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy on top of the 100% deposit match. You're going to find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Never seen Underdog have two special pick'ems until this week. Okay. Now let's move this over. And Josh says, start Deontay or Dotson at the second flex spot. If Terry McLaurin plays, I am going to be pivoting over to Deontay Johnson, my friend. Now, our next question coming out from John says, need 2 flexes. Terry, Dotson, Sutton, and Ayuk. Thanks. So thank you, my friend. We are going to go ahead. We are going to go with Ayuk no matter what. If Terry misses, we're going to go Dotson. If Judy misses, we're going to go Sutton. If Judy and Terry both play, we're going to go Dotson. Max says, trade Higgins for DK Metcalf. I have Geno. No, I understand wanting to go through and get the Geno Smith stack with DK Metcalf. Ultimately, at the end of the day, though, the issue is we are going down a tier with that trade. I'm fine trading down rankings as long as we're going to be staying within the same tier. Now, is Quardo coming out, says 12-team PPR where we have Hurts, CMC, Jacobs, Watson, Mike Williams, Frymuth, Lockett, Kirk. And then on the bench, we have Brian Robinson, Damian Harris, Sky Moore, Bateman, Tank Dell, Juwan Johnson. Drop Tank Dell, my friend. I promise you have a running back on the waiver wire with more upside. And then for the starting lineup, what you're going to need to do is you're going to move Tyler Lockett into the Christian Watson slot. You're going to move Christian Watson down to the bench, and you're going to move Brian Robinson into the starting lineup. And I would also at this point see if there's a more appealing waiver wire option than Sky Moore. I definitely think Sky Moore was a player that should have been rostered going into the season to see what he looked like, to see the overall role. But now that we've seen that role and now that we've seen him not look good with no Travis Kelce, it's going to be very difficult for us to go ahead and get pumped about rostering Sky Moore and his quote-unquote overall upside. Now, Kerry says, 12-team PBR ESPN League, 1 flex. We have Burrow, Jefferson, Etienne, Chase, Kirk, DJ Moore, Pittman, Khalil Herbert, Jacksonville, Patterson. And then on the bench, we have Swift, Penny, Chark, Zay Jones, Hayden Hurst, and MVS. I think we drop MVS. I don't want to have any Chiefs wide receivers at this point. I would go pick up a running back off the waiver wire with upside. But outside of that, I really like the team. Now we have it set up. We have the Burrow Chase stack. I mean, hell, we have Justin Jefferson here as well. We have ETN for a lot of upside. Great team overall. I think that we just go ahead and drop the Chiefs wide receiver. And I'm fine rostering 2 tight ends if Kyle Pitts is our first guy. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from Devin says, Burrow or Fields this week? If it's going to be a 4-point passing touchdown format, I'm going to go with Justin Fields and his rushing upside. If it's going to be a 6-point passing touchdown format, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow in the passing volume. Matt says, 12-team PBR double flex. We have Tua at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Kupp, Waddle, Dotson, Elijah Moore, Bateman. Running back, we have Taylor, Dobbins, Sanders, Gibson, Damian Harris, Pitts. Any moves? I love the Tua Waddle stack. Double flex format. We are going to be put into a little bit of a difficult situation here when we're going to be waiting for Cooper Kupp to come back. The issue is when we have Kupp and Taylor on the same team, fundamentally, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to make any trades with the lack of overall depth, especially in a 12-team league where we have 2 flex spots where depth actually matters. So I would say overall, my friend, you're probably in a position where you're going to be sitting on your hands and really can't afford to make any moves until we have these players back. Now, David says flex Lockett or Brian Robinson this week. Full BBR format, I would have gotten Tyler Lockett pre-JSN news. But now that JSN's probably good to go, I think you can go Brian Robinson if you want. If it's going to be a half or non-PBR format, you almost go Brian Robinson regardless. Professional Certified Hater says, I'll drop Jameson, but the tight ends available are Gesicki, Conklin, Irv Smith Jr., Hayden Hurst. Not sure to go with. You can roster Jameson Williams one more week. If those are the best guys available, I'm sorry, my man. You can roster Jameson one more week. Okay, our next question coming out from Brett says, 10-team BBR format where we have Fields at quarterback, Madison White at RB, wide receiver we have Kupp, Diggs, Cooper, Pitts at tight end, and then on the bench, Hall, Gibson, Collins, Flowers, Pittman. Should we just wait out Kupp and Hall? I think so. I think it's going to be much easier for us to do so because this is a 10-team league with 1 flex. 10-team league with 1 flex, going to be a little bit easier to find those depth options overall. And depth's not going to matter as much either. I mean, right now we have like Gibson and Michael Pittman on the bench. So I think we're going to be in a good spot to wait for these guys. Laylo says, package T or Amari for a wide receiver upgrade. Quarterback is Deshaun Watson. If your quarterback is Deshaun Watson, no, I think we're fine sitting there. Insfall says, a full BBR, we're going to go Van Jefferson or Breece Hall. I understand the thought process, but no, we want to go ahead. We want to keep Breece Hall, even with the Cooper Kupp injury. Now, Tyler says, any trade ideas for a 10-team BBR league We have Herbert, CMC, Montgomery, A.J. Brown, Olave, Freiermuth, Ridley. And then on the bench, we have James Cook, Mike Williams, Pacheco, Prescott, and Brian Robinson. So if we're looking at making any potential moves, I think that you are in a great spot with this league. The only thing I would say is because we are so damn elite at the very top at wide receiver and running and quarterback, I mean, this is a team that with this kind of depth, there's no reason for us not to go through and try to trade like Mike Williams and Pat Freiermuth to get to a tight end that we're super excited about starting every single week to see if we can go out there and get to like a Mark Andrews level player. Zabo says Tua or Dak week 1. We're going to go Tua with a great matchup. And Pickens or Odell. We're going to go Pickens. You cannot start Odell. Please, please, please do not start Odell Beckham Jr. Okay. Now let's go over and find our next question. Ty says 10-team league with only one flex. Quarterback, we have Lawrence, Tua. Running back, we have Bijan, Gibbs, Javonte. Receiver, we have Lamb, Waddle, Williams, Amari. Tight end, we have Goddard and Njoku. Thoughts and any moves? Overall, I don't really like rostering 2 tight ends and 2 quarterbacks here. I do like having the Tua Waddle stack. I mean, the thing is, it's going to be such a tough spot in a league with only one flex spot for us to go through and have 2 QBs and 2 tight ends. If we could potentially sell one of these quarterbacks in a package to get an upgrade elsewhere, or sell one of the tight ends, like sell Goddard, and don't sell Goddard, sell David Njoku and Amari, and see if we can go get a wide receiver like Olave. Generally, it's what I want to do. I just don't like rostering 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. Matthew says, any trade ideas in a 10-team league with only one flex? We have Fields, Tyreek, Wilson, Mixon, Javonte, Hawkinson, Watson. And then on the bench, we have London, Taylor, McKinnon, Gibson, Cooks. In a 10-team league, I think we'll have a better flex option than Jerick McKinnon. 10-team league, we'll have a better flex option than McKinnon. Drop him. And then in terms of making any trades, it's going to be difficult for the moment because we have Taylor obviously on the IR. And then at the same time, we have a banged up Christian Watson as well. So start Drake London out of these bench options at the flex over Christian Watson. Wait until we get Taylor and Christian Watson back in. And then at that point, we'll have some more flexibility with potential trades that we can make. Now, Cameron says 12-team PPR, 1 flex. Quarterback, we have Herbert and Dak. Running back, we have Bijan, Ramondre, J.K. Dobbins, Tyler Algier, Rashad Penny. Wide receiver, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Debo, Godwin, Sutton. Tight end, we have David Njoku and Sam LaPorta. Any moves? I think now this is our sell-high moment on LaPorta. I hate to say it. He looks so damn good, and I do want to give the man his flowers. But, we're not going to start him over David Njoku still. I don't want to be rostering 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. If we could take Sam LaPorta, package him with like Debo Samuel to get up to a wide receiver like Amari Cooper, DK Metcalf, Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, I'd really like to do that. Outside of that, great team. Now, Chris coming out with our next question. This saying, 10-team BBR format, we have Hurts, Barkley, Connor, Lamb, Higgins, Christian Watson, Kittle, Swift, Sutton, Sky Moore, Jay Williams, Mostert, Mitchell, Bateman. Any advice? So we have the elite QB1. We have a nice balance at the very top between running back, wide receiver production. We have a tight end in Kittle that we can start every single week. I'm assuming that we're going to drop Sky Moore, go find someone else with a little more upside off the waiver wire. Great spot. Obviously we need to take Christian Watson out of the starting lineup. I think now, honestly, if you wanted to go and try to sell like Jamal Williams and Cortland Sutton and go get a wide receiver upgrade, maybe it could make some sense. Or actually, no, Christian Watson may be in there at the flex. I don't know how you listed this out if he's at the second flex. If he's at the second flex, just put Jamal Williams in there for his spot. If not, maybe we want to go through and trade for a wide receiver upgrade just because we can afford it and we have the running back depth. And running backs are going for a premium right now based off all the injuries to the position. Now, Vic coming out says, any trade ideas? It's an 8-team PPR league where the starters are Mixon, Barkley, Chase, Metcalf, Schultz, Evans. And then the bench, we have Brian Robinson, Walker, Amari, London, Goddard. We have so much depth with this team. I definitely think we want to go ahead and make a deal. If we can trade Dalton Schultz and a running back like Kenneth Walker to go get, TJ Hawkinson to go get Mark Andrews. It's something we want to be doing in an 8-team format because running back and wide receiver depth is going to be very easy to find, my friend. Now, Alex says CMC, Garrett Wilson, Ingram, Ramondre, Debo, any trades? I don't know who Seasons is. I don't know, my man. I can't see I don't know. Eli says, how's the dog doing? Dog's doing well. She's not in the room right now. I'll get her up in the live stream later on. Hogamords, my man. Sergio says, I have Herbert, Pollard, Stevenson, Hopkins, Hill, Everett at tight end, Ridley at the flex. And then on the bench, we have Madison, White, Judy, McLaurin. Do I trade Ridley and McLaurin for Jonathan Taylor, Higgins, and Christian Kirk? Ridley to Higgins, lateral move, doesn't really matter. Take him out of the deal. Do we trade Terry McLaurin for Jonathan Taylor and Christian Kirk? Hell yes, we can afford it. Let's go ahead, let's pull the trigger. We have the depth, makes so much sense. Yes, trade Calvin Ridley and McLaurin for Higgins, Taylor, and Christian Kirk, my man. Okay, now Jab coming out. Thank you, my man. Okay. Saying 8-team PBR league, Superflex keeper. Take 2 years for this season. Lawrence, Bijan, Pollard, Chase, Amon-Ra, Andrew. Yeah, look like we take 2 years for this year. The bench, we have Gibbs, Madison, Richardson, Debo, Pickens. Looking for first in the league. Any moves. You are in a great spot, my man. Really like that we have Anthony Richardson here to potentially play over Kirk Cousins for the long-term upside. We're primarily focusing on running backs with upside down there the bench. Last thing you want to do is sell Antonio Gibson. The only thing I would potentially say is if we could sell like Alexander Madison with one of the quarterbacks to get an upgrade at that position, I think it would make sense. But we do have a lot of upside at quarterback. Definitely not something we have to do. Or if you want to sell like Keenan Allen in a small piece, like Keenan Allen and George Pickens to go get Calvin Ridley to stack with Lawrence, that can make sense as well. I mean, Ridley. Okay, so John coming out says, a full PBR, we have JSN, Hollywood, Nico Collins, Warren, and Zach Moss. Let's wait for the hamstring report on Hollywood Brown. It's going to be down between Hollywood and JSN. Octavio coming out says, pick 2, James Cook, Madison, Najee, and Ramondre. We're going to be going with Ramondre and Alexander Madison, my man. Don't want to start Najee Harris against the 49ers. Jake says, should I go Akers over Akers over Dotson in the flex? I generally would avoid it. The reason being is, you are just looking at potentially a bottom 3 offense in the NFL right now with the Los Angeles Rams. I don't know. I really don't want to. P. Smith says 10-team, start 1, flex. Cousins, Saquon, Ramondre, Brown, Juwan, Mike Williams. And on the bench, we have Gibbs, Hall, Sutton, Daniel Jones, McLaurin. What are your thoughts? My man, there's no reason for us to not have a better tight end here. I mean, we have so many running backs. We have so many wide receivers down there on the bench. We have the overall depth for it. Let's go ahead. Let's see what we can do. Let's go try to get an upgrade at tight end. Let's see if we can sell McLaurin and Juwan Johnson to get a tight end that we really like. Okay. So let's move this over. Our next question coming out from Roberto says, tight end I have Hawkinson and Andrews. Should I add both so that one will be a flex? Wide receiver, Van Jefferson or Ayuk. Thank you, bro. No, thank you, my man. And we are going to go ahead. We're going to take Ayuk over Van Jefferson. And the hard reality of it is, my man, we should not be rostering both Hawkinson and Andrews if we're having to ask if Van Jefferson should be our wide receiver. If we're that thin at wide receiver, even if I love Hawkinson, even if I love Andrews, I think we're potentially going to look to sell. Now, Sean says, who should have put my flex spot? Evans, Lockett, Michael Thomas, or Jamal? Ooh, tough spot. I think Mike Evans, Jamal Williams is the play. Can everybody please let me know in the live chat? Are you going to go with Mike Evans or Jamal Williams? Really, those are the only 2 options I think you have here. Please let me know in the live chat, ladies and gentlemen. And we are also extremely close to hitting 2,600 likes on this stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Help us hit 2,600. It looks like everybody's going Jamal, or the vast majority of people are going Jamal here, my man. We have some Evans mixing in. If it's a full BBR format there, I think you can look Evans. Anything less, you're going to go Jamal. Now, and also, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all want to see any of these player props, of course, you can check them out on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code FLOCK is going to get you a 100% deposit match up to $100, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find all of our premium content, And also, to go along with that, ladies and gentlemen, now is the best time to get on Underdog Fantasy because they have an exclusive flock special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard for Josh Allen against the New York Jets on Monday night. Plus, you're going to get an additional mystery special pick'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy. This is the first week I've ever seen Underdog have 2 special pick'ems the same week. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that while you still can. Promo code FLOCKS also going to get you that 100% deposit match, and the only way that you can get both those props. Marty says PBR trade Diggs and Jimmy G for Kupp, Tua, and Connor. Hell no. Can't do it. If we're selling Diggs for Kupp, we definitely need a better premium. Al says Aaron Jones for Gibbs. Aaron Jones, go get Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd definitely rather have Jahmyr Gibbs long term. It says trade Justin Herbert and Michael Pittman for Josh Allen. Hell yes, love it, my man. Go get the best quarterback. Go get Allen. Dylan says 10-team standard league starters are Watson, Bijan, Henry, St. Brown, Olave, Pitts, Godwin. And then on the bench, we have Javonte, Kirk, Gibson, Richardson, Daniel Jones, and Kmet. We can't be rostering 3 quarterbacks here. Go through, try to sell Daniel Jones if we can. If we can't, hell, just go ahead and drop him. But the fundamental issue with this team is we have 3 starting quarterbacks. We have 2 tight ends. And we're sitting here with only 4 RBs. We're sitting here with only 4 wide receivers, We can't have 3 quarterbacks and only 4 running backs. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Greg Film Stuff, long-time member of the flock, coming out, says who to start. We have Love at quarterback. Hopefully someone better than Love. Please, for the love of God, especially with the Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs injuries. Ridley, A.J. Brown at wide receiver. James Cook, Khalil Herbert, Ramondre Stevenson at running back. Tight end David Njoku. And then on the bench, we have Lazard, Charbonnet, Nico Collins, Anthony Richardson. Should I trade Kamara for a quarterback? No, let's see what we get with Anthony Richardson first. And at this point, I do think that we go ahead. We put Anthony Richardson in over Jordan Love based off the injury to Jordan Love's wide receivers this week, my man. And outside of that, don't really want to change anything else in the starting lineup. I think that you are good to go, my friend. Kate says Breece or Dotson at the flex this week. Probably going to go Dotson. Assuming full PBR. Mike says, have Kelsey already got offered to send Garrett Wilson, A.J. Dillon, Frymuth for Andrews, DJ Moore, and Bijan. Oh, Bijan's backup Tyler Algier. Hell no. Okay, I thought this was a deal where we were going to get Bijan Robinson. I was going to say, oh yeah, that's a no-brainer, but no. If it's Tyler Algier, my friend, please keep Garrett Wilson, especially if you already have Kelsey. Looks like Kelsey should be back week 2. Now, Israel coming out says Mixon, Bijan, Herbert with no flex, only 2 running back slots. Who are we going to look to start? We're definitely going to go Mixon and Bijan Robinson, my man. Not really close either, but you should be super excited about both those running backs. Eli says, full PPR, we have Burrow at quarterback. Running back, we have Barkley, Montgomery, wide receiver, St. Brown, Olave, Pat Frymuth at tight end, London at the flex. And then on the bench, we have Christian Watson, JSN, Gibbs, Charbonnet, Algier, Mingo. What are your thoughts? Great team with the long-term upside at wide receiver, right? We're going to be sitting on our hands just for a bit because if we're looking at like Christian Watson, JSN, even if we like the upside, we're not going to get them in the short term. Clearly, Montgomery and Amon-Ra St. Brown look great tonight, my man. Great team. We just have to wait for those wide receivers. I think Mingo also possibly could be on the chopping block, depending on the role this week. With Adam Thielen banged up, you should have high expectations. Tanner says 12-team double flex league. We have Herbert at quarterback. Running back, we have Pollard, Najee, Wilson, Ridley, Dotson, and Deontay at the flex. We have Brian Robinson on the bench. Should we start him? I would start Brian Robinson over Deontay Johnson, my man. It's just such a good matchup against the Arizona Cardinals where we know the Cardinals are horrendous. The Cardinals aren't even trying to compete. So if we could go through and just get the running back that's going to be running the ball in the second half when they're looking to wind the clock down, I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's get Brian Robinson. Brandon says 10-team, 1 flex. We got offered Hurts, Deontay, James Cook for Deshaun Watson and Stephon Diggs. No, we can't do it. I'd still have Waddle and Amari. Yeah, I love going after the elite level quarterback, especially if it's a 1 flex league. But ultimately, I'd rather have Diggs over Jalen Hurts. Deontay Johnson, James Cook aren't enough to bridge that gap, especially if we already have Watson. I like the upside of Watson. Kingsley says, who do we flex week 1? We need this badly. Dotson or London. Had Kelsey injury and started Juwan Johnson and Pacheco at RB2 tonight. Oh, that's brutal, my man. I think that now that we have McLaurin most likely trending good to go this week, we will be pivoting over to Drake London. Now, of course, if McLaurin were to be a surprise absent, then at that point, we would pivot back over to Jahan Dotson. Nigo says, who should I bench? Dameon Pierce, Dotson, London, or Kenneth Walker? Oh my gosh, I don't want to. We're going to have to monitor the issue that Kenneth Walker has with his groin. Right now, he is questionable for Sunday night. If Kenneth Walker does play, even if I really hate it, I think we bench Jahan Dotson, even if he has a much better matchup than Dameon Pierce, assuming Terry McLaurin plays, which looks like he will. Now, Jack's coming out, says 18 PBR double flex. We have Lamar at quarterback. Running back, we have Chubb, Henry. We have Chase, Devontae Adams, wide receiver. Frymuth at tight end, Wilson, Olave. How the hell do we have? I know it's an 8-team league, but Chubb, Henry, Chase, Adams, Wilson, Olave. Bench, we have Kamara and Mike. You have no excuse not to go and get an elite level tight end. This is an absurd team. Let's try to trade one of those bench options with Pat Frymuth and get TJ Hawkinson, get Mark Andrews. Unbelievable team, my friend. That is awesome. Now, Majarkis coming out says 10-team PBR format. We have a Burrow at QB. Running back, we have Ramondre, Amon-Ra St. Brown at wide receiver with Lamb, Dobbins, Ingram. And then on the bench, we have Madison, Pirine, London, DJ Moore, Dotson, Higbee, any trade ideas. We just have so much wide receiver depth here that I think we can afford to upgrade from one of these running backs. Now, what I'm going to wait to do is I'm going to wait until J.K. Dobbins has a massive performance against the Houston Texans week 1. And at that point, if we could take Drake London and J.K. Dobbins and go trade them for an elite level RB, I think it'd make a lot of sense. Now, Chris says 10-team league where we have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Running back, we have Barkley, Etienne. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, DJ Moore. We have Goddard at tight end. In the flex, London, James Cook, Ayuk, Judy, Mostert, Bateman, or Elijah Mitchell. My man, we are going to go ahead. We will be playing Raheem Mostert at the flex spot this week. But long term, I think that London is probably going to be your guy. Well, we'll see. Maybe the situation stays this good for Raheem for a while. Now, Martin coming out says 10-team, 4-keeper, happy BR league. We have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Garrett Wilson. Running back, we have Jacobs, Etienne, Mixon, Hawkinson at tight end with Sanders, Lawrence, Pickens, Gabe Davis on the bench. Trade ideas to upgrade wide receiver. I mean, my man, you are in a phenomenal spot. I mean, if we are going to go through and do something, I don't want to sell Miles Sanders right away. My first option would be if we could go ahead and potentially package together just the 2 wide receivers down on the bench. I mean, if we could send George Pickens and Gabe Davis to go get a wide receiver that we like in, say, the DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper, Deebo Samuel, Calvin Ridley range, I think that'd make a lot of sense. But I mean, we are freaking loaded at the top of the lineup here, my man. That is a beautiful team. Now, Mongo coming out says 12-team keeper league, double flex, where we have Hurts, Bijan, Mixon, DK, Moore, Goddard, Evans, Sky. Oh, brutal, my man. Hopefully we do not actually start Sky. The bench, we have Fournette, Hunt, Flowers, Rice, Johnson, anything we can do. We are going to be clearing house here, my man. I am completely fine with the thought process, and trust me, I drafted Kareem Hunt. I drafted Leonard Fournette on a lot of my underdog teams. I thought that they would be signed. I thought that they would give us something. But it looks like it's not happening. So we're clearing house, where we're going through, and we are looking at cut Leonard Fournette, cut Kareem Hunt, cut Rashee Rice based off what we saw today. Possibly cut Sky. I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to look at any trades here because I think that this is going to be a team that we are so incentivized to just work that waiver wire. Like almost our entire bench should be replaced here. I think you probably have the right bench going into the season. We just have to update with the information that we have now. J Money coming out says 12-team league, double flex. We have Tua at quarterback. Running back, we have Eckler, Dobbins, Waddle, Keenan, Deontay, Dotson, Andrews. And then on the bench, we have Addison, Elijah Moore, Warren, Roshan, Jameson, Ty Chandler. Bad starting 2 Finns, 2 Ravens, 2 Chargers. No, the exact opposite, my man. We are making consolidated bets on the Dolphins, on the Ravens, and the Chargers offenses. I like going through and stacking because ultimately in fantasy, especially in like a 12-team league, your expected win rate is about 8%. I'm trying to make some consolidated bets where if we just get a few things right, that 8% probability of us winning our league may go up to a 15%, may go up to a 20%. So no, I actually really like what we're doing here. The only thing I'd say is I don't love rostering Jamison Williams, knowing that he's going to limit the waiver wire moves we can make at the beginning of the year. Christopher says, flex Zay Jones or Dillon. Full PPR, I'm going to go Zay Jones. As sad as that sounds, but he looks like he'll be playing in 2 wide receiver sets. Kevin says, 12-team PPR league. We have Hurts at quarterback. Running back, we have CMC, Rashad White. Wide receiver, we have Metcalf, Keenan Allen. Tight end, we have Evan Ingram. Should I flex Michael Thomas or take the risk on Marvin Mims? I'm actually going to go Michael Thomas now, my friend. I think both guys are very risky, but ultimately with Thomas, at least he projects to be a starter, where now it looks like Judy may actually be good to go in Denver. But still, like I said, I don't want to start any rookies until we actually see them break out. So even if Judy does not play, I'm still not pumped to go through and start someone like Marvin Mims. David coming out says, 12-team PPR. We have Fields, CMC, Walker, Metcalf, Devonta Smith, Waller, Hollywood. Okay, don't really care about the IDP side of things. Bench is Watson, Juju, Odell. Any suggestions? If we could upgrade from Hollywood Brown in the flex spot, that's something that I'd really like to do, my man. If we could somehow like bamboozle someone, trade them Odell Beckham Jr. and Hollywood, trade them Juju Smith-Schuster and Hollywood, to go get us a wide receiver in the Drake London, in the Mike Williams, in the DJ Moore. Let me pull up an entire tier list of wide receivers here. If we can trade, let's say, like Hollywood and Odell, and just get someone in the range of, Williams, Lockett, Debo, Evans, Godwin, Hopkins, Ayuk, London, Deontay Johnson, I'd really like that. I just want to be full-blown, avoiding all Arizona Cardinals if we can. Batman Gaming says, would you trade Lockett for Devon Achane and Quentin Johnston? And a 12th, a dynasty, hell yeah. Redraft, no, you can't. Talon says, 8-team, full BBR format. We have Fields, Bijan, Brian Robinson, Godwin, Olave, Ridley, Evan Ingram, Diggs, Lockett, Pierce, Watson, Akers, and Njoku. Do we need to trade for a running back? Yes, I don't think we do it now. I think we wait until after week 1. Or no, we can do it now if you want. If you want to trade Lockett and Cam Akers and get someone that we like in a better offense, that makes sense. My thought process is you may get a sell high moment on Brian Robinson after the game this week against the Cardinals, just given how good the matchup is. But it's not necessarily something that we're having to do right now. Now, going over to our next question coming out from Richard says, full BBR, pick 2, Evans, Dameon Pierce, DJ Moore, and Brian Robinson. We're going to go with Mike Evans and Brian Robinson. I'm going to go Brian Robinson over DJ Moore this week. Zabo says, 12-team non-PBR 1 flex. We have Fields at quarterback. Running back, we have Stevenson, Gibbs. Wide receiver, we have Hill, A.J. Brown, Pitts at tight end, Pickens in the flex. Should I trade Brown since he has the same bye week as Tyreek Hill? JT on my bench. Should I wait for him or trade him? Rate the team, please. I think it's a great team once we get Jonathan Taylor. Once we get Taylor, non-BBR format, we are golden. I will say, since it's a non-BBR format, Stevenson, Gibbs are running backs that I'm a little bit less excited about. These are guys that I want in full PBR leagues based off their receiving down usage. Now, the last thing you ever need to do, my friend, is worry about making a trade to line up bye weeks. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you don't need to worry about buys. It's going to work itself out. Every player is going to miss a week. It doesn't matter if you have 2 guys missing the same week. Anthony coming out says, quarterback, we have Anthony Richardson. Running back, we have Bijan, Gibbs, James, Walker, Taylor. Wide receiver, we have Lamb, Devonta, Hopkins, Hollywood, Christian Watson, Addis. Great team, but we have gone so damn heavy on rookies here, my man. This is a team that we just have to stay afloat at the beginning of the season. It will continue to get better as the year progresses, especially when we get Jonathan Taylor back in. It's very hard to make trades with a team like this just because we don't have the extra depth at the moment, even if we have that long-term upside. It's more so just everything we do, we are trying to stay alive. We're trying to start the season off 2-2, 3-3, and then dominate in the second half. Okay. But Colin coming out says, Dynasty double flex. We have Aaron Jones and Deontay for Saquon or another. Oh, hell yeah. Go get Saquon, my man. I mean, obviously, Dynasty, we're a little bit more inclined to go with depth, but no, get Saquon. Now, LC Squared says Josh Allen, Bijan Robinson, Nick Chubb, Lamb, Amari, Waller, Keenan, Akers. And then on the bench, we have DJ Moore, London, Kirk, Goddard. Swap any for the bench or trade ideas. Overall, phenomenal team. I would start Drake London over Cam Akers. And because how bad the Cam Akers overall offense is in Los Angeles, if we could potentially go through and trade one of our depth wide receivers, whether that's DJ Moore or Drake London with Cam Akers, go get an upgrade at RB, I'd really like that, my friend. Now, Grigor coming out says 12-team happy BR format with only one flex, $1,000 buy-in. My team is Fields, Bijan, Barkley, Hall, DK, Dotson, Pickens, JSN, Mims, Kincaid. Who do we start at the flex? Please help. Okay. Quarterback Fields, running back Bijan, Barkley, wide receiver DK, Dotson. Flex options are going to be Breece Hall and George Pickens. This is a $1,000 fantasy football draft, ladies and gentlemen. So can we get everybody in the chat to help us out? Can everybody in the chat spam? Who would you rather start? Would you rather start Breece Hall or George Pickens? Pickens going up against the 49ers. Breece Hall going up against the Bills. Please let me know, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Pickens, Hall, Pickens, Hall, Pickens, Hall, Pickens, Pickens, Hall, Hall. It's literally split 50-50. Hall, Pickens, 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 Pickens. Like, it literally could not be split further, my man. I mean, very tough spot. That's why I went through and asked the live chat. If you're going to go with two of those guys, I mean, one of those two, I think will be fine. Saul says Godwin, Gallup, Devon Achane for Elijah Moore and Javonte. Gallup, Devon Achane, I don't care about. Elijah Moore, I don't care about. Godwin versus Javonte. Up to your roster, my man. Fair deal. Terrestrial Access says Falcons or Bills defense week 1. We're going to go with the Falcons defense. The Bills defense is definitely a better unit, but I'd rather go up against a rookie quarterback with none of his receivers options looking healthy. Kenny B says trying to decide a flex or potential trade in a 10-team league. We have Lawrence, Mixon, Gibbs, Chase, A.J. Brown, Pitts. The bench is Tua, Dobbins, Penny, Debo, London, Thomas, and DJ Chark. Beautiful spot. I don't see a trade that makes sense, at least initially. If you wanted to go ahead and see if we can trade, say, like Debo Samuel and Kyle Pitts and get an elite level tight end in return like Mark Andrews, let's send it just because we have the wide receiver depth. But great team. I don't think you need to do anything there, my friend. Glacial Pizza says, I just traded Jalen Hurts and Jamar Chase for Lamb, Eckler, and Tua. Chase, Eckler, same tier. I'd rather have Lamb over Hurts. Getting Tua makes sense. I mean, I love Hurts too. Vig says, PBR flex, Javonte or Madison. We're going to go with Madison, even with the encouraging reports coming out of Denver with Sean Payton saying that Javonte is going to have a large workload. But ladies and gentlemen, real quick, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel. We have live streamed for like 40 hours over the past 5 days. I mean, we're live streaming every single day until next year, 2024. I can't even remember what year it was. So make sure you drop a like and subscribe. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, it is not too late. Now is the time to do so, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to get an exclusive Josh Allen special pick'em Monday night against the Jets, more than less than half a passing yard, only with promo code FLOCK. Plus, you're going to get an additional mystery special pick'em. I've never seen Underdog have two special pick'ems the same week until this week. And also, if you use promo code FLOCK, you're going to get not only both those, but a 100% deposit match up to $100. But Rye coming out says 12-team double flex, where we have Russ at quarterback. Better have a better quarterback on the bench. Tyreek, St. Brown, Walker, Connor, Judy, Andrews, Dobbins, Flowers, Hollywood, P. Ryan. Couple high upside guys. Should I make a move for a better quarterback? Yes, you have one of two options. One, we trade for a better quarterback. The trade would be we send James Conner and Russell Wilson. We get the best quarterback we can get in return. In reality, I'm going to assume that it's going to be very difficult for us to make that move. I'm going to assume that nobody wants to trade anything for Russell Wilson because why would they? So in reality, I think the situation you'll find yourself in is we most likely have to go ahead and we most likely have to just drop one of these options at the very end of the bench, such as Marvin Mims, go pick up another quarterback off the waiver wire, see if we can play the matchups, and see if we can find some cheap free upside. Finn says, I acknowledge I'm a man of my own devices. However, your advice of starting Sky over Juju really kicked me in the shins. All love at the end of the day, despite the mistake. If Juju scores a tutty, I'm ruined. Okay, well, I'm very sorry, my man. I actually will stand by the call that Sky Moore was a better play than Juju Smith-Schuster. I feel like you were one of the very few people we said not to start Sky Moore with. I mean, how we even tweeted out, if you start Sky Moore, you deserve what's coming to you. But to be honest with you, my man, I kind of stand by it. Juju's bad offense, bad matchup. We don't know the workload. He's Juju. So even though it's gross, and I'm very, very sorry, my friend, I'm honestly not too embarrassed about telling you to bench Juju. Okay. Now, Robbie coming out says, hey, Mason, probably going to drop McKinnon. Who would you pick up? Best guys on the waiver wire. Jamal. Go get Jamal Williams, my man. Right now. Go get Jamal Williams. The fact that Jamal Williams is on the waiver wire, my man, I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, I appreciate you. Been with us for years now. You should be embarrassed yourself that Jamal Williams is on the waiver wire and we didn't already drop Jarrett McKinnon to go pick him up before the game. I mean, getting Jamal off the waiver wire for free is freaking nuts. Please take advantage of that ASAP. Curran says 12-team PPR format. We have Hurts, Gibbs, Montgomery, Jefferson, Watson, Ingram, Jamal, Walker, Gabe, Nico, MVS, Hunt, Goff, Mingo, Hubbard on the bench. Desperately need wide receiver. Oh yeah, we do need a wide receiver help, my man. I mean, if we're really going to start anybody in the short term, we're going to go Gabe Davis and Justin Jefferson. We at least get Jamal Williams to get there and throw in the flex. I'm not saying that David Montgomery is a clear sell high candidate. I'm not saying that you need to sell David Montgomery. But if you wanted to throw Montgomery on the trade block to just see what would come your way, knowing that there are people out here in the chat right now that are freaking pumped saying that Montgomery's going to lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns like Jamal did last year, can't hurt to see what kind of price point we could get. Help me says, should I offer Gus Edwards for Tank Bigsby? Bigsby owner has, yes, I would go ahead and do that, my man. I think Bigsby has just a much higher ceiling overall. I think Gus will see touches on a week-to-week basis, but we know for a fact he is never going to catch the ball. Witcher Wolf says 12-team half PPR tight end premium format. Traded Higbee, Henry, Mostert, 14. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We have LaPorta on the bench. Should I trade for Kelsey? If somehow we can trade like Hawkinson to LaPorta and parlay that into Kelsey, that would be awesome. I personally love Hawkinson. Of course, I like Kelsey more. But yeah, way to take advantage of that value, my man. I will say you are going to expect that Tyler Higbee has a strong start to the season with no Cooper Kupp. Little Luke says 12-team full PPR where we have Dak, Pierce, Montgomery, Adams, AJ Brown, Andrews, Mike Williams, Kirk, Brian Robinson, Darnell Mooney, Zach Charbonnet. Any tips? Drop Darnell Mooney. Just really no passing volume at all this next year in Chicago. Would rather roster another running back down there on the bench with upside. But overall, I mean, phenomenal team. If somehow we could take like a piece like Mike Williams or Christian Kirk, or Brian Robinson, or hell, if we can go David Montgomery and Dak and go get Lamar Jackson right now to stack up with Mark Andrews when we have this running back wide receiver depth, I think that make a lot of sense. You have a great team. Average Joe says, any advice? We have Hurts, AJ Brown, Amari, Barkley, Madison, Walker, Herbert, Kirk, White, Elijah Moore, Mitchell, Bigsby, JSN, Jalen Warren on waivers. Yeah, we're definitely going to want to go ahead and pick up Jalen Warren if we can. I'd actually probably rather have him over Elijah Moore, but I don't want to cut Elijah Moore. What I'd rather do is try to make a 2-for-1 deal if possible. So if we can go through and potentially sell like Khalil Herbert and Darren Waller to get to Mark Andrews, or go through and go like Christian Kirk and Alexander Madison to go get to like Travis Etienne, make a move like that. That way we can just pick up Jalen Warren off the waiver wire for free. I'd love that. Okay. Eric says 12-team PPR format. Quarterback, we have Geno. Wide receiver, we have AJ Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Running back, we have Ramadre, Madison, Akers. Tight end, Hawkinson. And then on the bench, Jamal, Dotson, Cup. Great team overall, my man. I think we can afford a quarterback upgrade, to be honest with you. And I would definitely make an adjustment in that you need to go ahead. You need to bench Cam Akers, put Jamal Williams into your starting lineup. And with how bad this offense is going to be overall in Los Angeles this next season, if you wanted to go through and see if we could sell Cam Akers and Geno Smith to get a quarterback that we like more, I would also be interested in that. Mikey says, flex Brian Robinson, Jahan Dotson, or Drake London week 1. I probably go Brian Robinson now that McLaurin's going to go. I mean, it's just going to be a great spot if you're looking at the game environment. Team Zero Gaming says, need your advice on moves we should make. Quarterback, we have Herbert. Running back, Pollard, Mixon. Wide receiver, we have Kirk, Devonta Smith, Myers, Deontay. Deontay Johnson definitely goes ahead of Jacoby Myers here, my man. Deontay Johnson. Devonta Smith is your wide receiver 1. Christian Kirk and Deontay Johnson are wide receivers 2 and 3. Hogginson at tight end. The bench is Bigsby, Kamara, Hollywood, Zay, Sutton, Charbonnet. I would love to see if we could trade for either Keenan or Mike Williams when we have Justin Herbert here. If we could sell like Deontay Johnson for either one of those wide receivers, sell Christian Kirk for either one of those wide receivers, feel free to package in Hollywood Brown as a throw-in in a horrendous offense. I think that'd be interesting because we do have depth overall. Overall, I think it's a great team, and we're primarily just waiting for Kamara to come back. But thank you for being a long-time member of the flock. And Gerald coming out and says, 12-team PPR, where we have Josh Allen at QB. Running back, we have Stevenson, Javonte, Swift, Charbonnet. Wide receiver, we have Adams, Kupp, Pittman, Godwin, Gabe Davis. Tight end is Komet. I don't know if we make this move right now, but once we have Javonte for sure breaking out, once we know the role with Swift, most importantly, once we get cut back, then I think we go through and we see if we can upgrade tight end. The fundamental issue with doing that now is we don't know what the role is going to be like for Javonte at the very beginning of the season. DeAndre Swift, we don't know what the role is going to be like at all. And then at the same time, we are waiting for Cooper Kupp to come back ultimately. Okay, but our next one coming out from Craig says, Addison, Zay, Javonte, or Dion at the flex. We will go Javonte here, my friend. Sam says, traded Dallas and Ayuk for Ingram and Hall. Was this bad? I don't love it. I'm a big Dallas Goedert guy. It ultimately depends on, does Breece Hall turn into that RB1? Andy says, Mason, I'm cutting Tony after that performance. Don't blame you at all, my man. Jacob says, Herbert or Akers. We are going to go Khalil Herbert. Sutton or Lockett. We are going to go Lockett with Judy looking good. And I would go Lockett regardless. Jay says, okay, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Deuce Vaughn for more points than Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs will run laps around Deuce Vaughn this year, my man. Run laps. I like a good, bold prediction, but I like it centered in reality, my man. That is wild. Zachary says 12-team PPR where we have Hurts, Eckler, Jacobs, Chase, Lockett, Evans, Waller. Should we flex P. Ryan or Gibson? We're going to go Gibson. Bench is, yeah, we definitely go big Gibson, best option out of these options. I mean, in regards to P. Ryan, we did get the report from Sean Payton earlier yesterday saying that it looks like Javonte is going to have a massive role this week. Okay. Joanne says Jefferson or Tyreek in the second pick. Definitely go Jefferson over Tyreek, my friend. Full PPR, but want to take a different route, one of many leagues. Yeah, go Jefferson. Don't overthink it. You take a different route in round 2. Take a different route in round 3. Eric says Jamal or Akers. Definitely going to go Jamal. I mean, with the Miller injury, with Kamara suspended, Jamal's a must-start guy. Richard says 8-team league where we have Lamar, Pollard, Dobbins, Amon-Ra, Diggs, Waller, Godwin. And then on the bench, we have Elijah Mitchell, Lockett, Moore, Addison, Flowers, Deontay. Any tips? Maybe a running back? Yeah, so in general, 8-team league, every team's going to be phenomenal, especially with their wide receiver depth overall. So generally what I would look to do is I would look to get an elite level quarterback. We did that. We have Lamar. I'll look to get an elite level tight end if we can. We kind of did that. We have Waller. But if we could take like Deontay Johnson, if we could take, maybe DJ Moore and go package one of them with Darren Waller to get to Lamar, to get to the Lamar Andrews stack, I go trade for Lamar Jackson. Go trade for Mark Andrews. That'd be beautiful. Now, Robert coming out says a full BBR 1 flex league. We have Daniel Jones at quarterback. We have CMC, Etienne, Ridley, Williams, Njoku, Sutton. And then on the bench, we have Hall, Kirk, Charbonnet, Rondell, Elijah Mitchell, Bateman, Kupp on the IR. Any suggestions? The elite level running backs at the top, wide receivers with upside. I would say if Daniel Jones is our only quarterback, my man, I don't think we need to trade for a better quarterback. But what I am going to do is I'm going to drop one of the bottom end options on the bench, such as Rondell Moore, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up another quarterback and play the matchups. Mark said, you said you're on Gibbs based on the Lions' investment in him, but by that same logic can be applied to Montgomery, who's getting paid big. Yeah, 100%. I'm high on both running backs. I think both running backs get involved a ton. I think it's an elite level offensive line. I think be excited about both Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Now, Permit coming out says, my brother Mason, give me your best advice. $1,000 prize money, 12-team, 1-flex league. Quarterback, we have Lamar. Running back, we have Bijan, Montgomery, Hall, Charbonnet. Wide receiver, we have St. Brown, Ridley, Christian Watson, Godwin, Jahan Dotson, Elijah Moore. Tight end, we have Higbee, maybe Pat Frymuth. If Pat Frymuth is on the waiver wire, my man, first thing you do is go through and drop Elijah Moore and go pick up Pat Frymuth. That is a phenomenal spot. This is a great team overall. We have 2 wide receiver ones. We have a running back 1 with Bijan. We have Montgomery looking great. We have Brees Hall with the long-term upside. We have the elite level quarterback with Lamar. We're well-balanced top to bottom. I hate to give you literally nothing here, my man, but the only thing I would say is, hell yeah, go drop Elijah Moore, pick up Pat Frymuth, and that's a beautiful spot. I would keep Higbee, though. Higbee's in a really good situation with no cup. Witcher says, 12-team map PBR start 2, Smith, Olave, and Waddle. I think we're going to go Olave and Waddle. Smith has a tough matchup against the Pats. Now, Mo says, do you have faith in Devonta Smith over Amari Cooper? I mean, if you look at our rankings right now, we do have these wide receivers literally back-to-back. I have Devonta Smith 14. I have Amari Cooper 15. If you look at their underdog pick'ems, Devonta Smith's at 59.5 receiving yards. Amari's at 58.5 receiving yards. I really do think it's your personal preference. Kroopy Poopy coming out and says 10-team BBR double flex. We have Lamar at QB. Running back, we have Pollard, Swift. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Wilson, Goddard at tight end, Amari in the flex with Jamal. And then on the bench, we have Stafford. Cut Stafford in a 10-team double flex format, my man. He doesn't have the upside, especially with the cup injury. Dalvin, Dillon, Thielen, Boyd, and Dulcich. I would cut both Stafford and Adam Thielen. I like what we're doing with Dalvin and Dillon on the bench, looking for high upside running backs that can make a difference if an injury were to occur in front of them. Yeah, just cut Stafford, Thielen, pick up some other options off the waiver wire, but great team at the very top. I mean, having Chase, Pollard, Garrett Wilson, Lamar shouldn't even be possible. Robbie says, start Jamal over Javonte or Mike Williams this week. Yes, start Jamal over Javonte Williams, my man. Please do it. Okay. Zulu says, 8-team standard 1 flex. Flex Jamal or Madison. Super tough spot. If you look at our rankings, these guys are pretty much going to be back-to-back. I really like starting both of them. I mean, if you look at their underdog pick'ems as well, Jamal's at 57.5 rushing yards. Alexander Madison's at 57.5 rushing yards. The projections are about the same. I think Madison has a larger role as a pass catcher, though. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Madison. Now, Ken says, now that McLaurin is back, would you rather start Dotson or London? We're going to go London with Terry back. Love your content this year, Mason. You the man. No, thank you so much, my man. And yeah, I think if you had no Terry McLaurin, I mean, John Dotson would be a must-start guy, right? Now, Anthony says, I have Kincaid, Frymuth, LaPorta, Juwan Johnson, Ferguson, Musgrave, and Everett on the waiver wire. What are your thoughts? No, we have Kincaid and those other tight ends on the waiver. Go get Frymuth right now. I'd cut Kincaid for Frymuth. I'd definitely start Frymuth over Kincaid week 1 minimum, even if you think Kincaid has a higher ceiling long term. Justin says, I have Christian Watson and Kenneth Walker. Should I be concerned? I am more so concerned about Christian Watson than I am with Kenneth Walker. We're going to monitor what's going on with Kenneth Walker tomorrow, and I will definitely keep you updated tomorrow, my friend. Okay, I think we are all through the questions, ladies and gentlemen. We've been live for about 40 hours over the past 5 days or so. So, yeah, we are going to cut this live stream here. But again, thank you so much, everybody. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, it is not too late. You can still find the link in the live chat description comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to get you a 100% deposit match up to $200, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And now is the time to get on Underdog, ladies and gentlemen, because you have an exclusive Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets on Monday night. Plus, you have an additional mystery special pick'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that. Only going to get both with promo code FLOCK plus the 100% deposit match. But real quick, Connor says 14th team Superflex, Hurts, Jones, Sanders, Herbert, Amon-Ra, Diggs, Waller, Howell, Gibson, Pirine, Warren, Algier, Pickens, Mims, thoughts. Great team, 14 team Superflex. 14 team Superflex, obviously depth's going to be much harder to come by. I would trade Waller for Hawkinson in most spots, but not this one because we have Daniel Jones. Craig says Akers or Dion. We're going to go Akers. Thoughts on Zay and Addison. Long-term upside. Can't start him this week. But again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I really, really do appreciate you. I really hope you have a great day, and I really hope I get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night.